Hello, I'm David Kain. I'm the president of Kain Automotive, and thanks for joining me today with this interview with Randy Price, who's the head of accounts and strategic partnerships for a company based in Canada called CarMedia 2.0, soon to be all over the United States. So Randy, welcome to the interview. And if you would, please introduce yourself and tell us about CarMedia 2.0.
David, thanks so much for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to join you. And yes, we're excited about growing into the US as well as we're very strong here in Canada. I've been with the company for about 2 years. I am the head of accounts and partnerships, and my role is basically to help the company grow, to oversee the retail channel, which sells directly to car dealers, but it's also to sell to OEMs and partnerships to resellers. So that's my role, and the company's been in existence for about 8 years. Wow. It's a true startup story. It started with one guy with a camera who wanted to go out and make vehicle inventory look better. Wow. And his name is Bart Texa. And so he started with the briefcase and the camera and started shopping services around in the local area around Toronto. In short order, managed to grow the business big enough where he needed a partner. So he brought in Emmanuel, his friend from college and high school. And sure enough, the two of them managed to grow the business to over 300 accounts in the years to follow. And that's national, coast to coast. We've got photographers, roughly 100 photographers from beautiful BC out to Newfoundland. And we've got a handful of accounts in the US that we currently do business with, but we're looking to continue to grow there as well.
Good. So, notwithstanding that you all obviously have a cool story of just organic development and growth through that, but at this point in your development, 8 years in, you also are doing something that reduces the labor level for dealerships, increases the overall look, so that customers, when they see the vehicles, feel that much more inclined to inquire about them. Tell us a little bit about your technology and how that comes to play.
Yeah, well, we traditionally started off as a full service company where we dispatch photographers to go and shoot inventory. But then we realized that there's an opportunity to enhance that experience. So we started editing the photos, replacing backgrounds. And that's one of the things that made us really stand out, is we're able to make the vehicle appear as if it's standing in front of the dealership, but maybe shot in the back 40 besides the dumpster, right? So our goal is to try and shoot the vehicle in the best light and conditions possible, and then replace the background such that the vehicle appears as if it's standing in front of the store, or a studio background if the dealer prefers. From there, we grow into an environment where we recognize that dealers want to do some of their own photography. So we developed our own self-serve app that is available on Android and iOS. And what it allows you to do is it's a paint by numbers approach. It's very simple. You scan the barcode of the vehicle, you shoot the vehicle with stencils, you fill the stencil with the vehicle, it steps you through it in a very simple manner, and then you upload the photos to us. We then take it from there. We do color contrast correction, background replacements, and syndication. So that's really the evolution of the company. We went from full serve to self-serve, but then we recognized there was a need for more. And so what we did is we developed a product called New Car 2.0. It's a library of vehicles that we shot through our partner dealerships across the country. And what it allows us to do is provide a subscription model to dealers. So we actually send, via feed we receive from them, we syndicate a photo set out to their website of all of the vehicles they have based on year, make, model, trim, and OEM color. And what that allows us to do is to render those images in real time for a dealer. And by the way, with backgrounds replaced, so the vehicle appears as if it's sitting right in front of that particular dealership store. And what that really allows dealers to do is to have a low-cost option, as opposed to trying to shoot every one of their new cars. As you can imagine, that gets quite cost prohibitive if you've got an inventory of, let's say, 500 to 2,000 units, right? So that's where it gets really, really expensive to go full service capture. And it's really taken off for us. We've had great success. We've actually licensed out through another company in Canada called Trader Corp, who you're probably familiar with. Yeah. And so they're one of our partners here in Canada, but we're also working with other companies to launch the product and help it grow beyond our current customer base.
So let me make sure I understand this, so I can trade for a 2018 model vehicle, and rather than wait for it to go through cleanup and reconditioning, I literally can have an array of photos that are reasonable facsimile, if not right on the equipment level, depending on the make, model, and the like, right away and be able to leverage that technology to get my vehicle ready for market quicker than I would if I were waiting for it to come out of cleanup.
No, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest advantages, that we can syndicate that based on the feed we receive from the dealer. In fact, our customers can post their inventory before it actually arrives. So if they've got one on order from the factory and we know what's in that order, we post that photo set. So it's an incoming vehicle, but it has a complete photo set of that vehicle waiting for the consumer to come on your website and find.
That's really handy, and particularly when most of our clients are trying to get to a 60-day turn, particularly on used vehicles, and then you wait for a while to be able to merchandise and market it. And notwithstanding, some dealers like to wait till it's completely ready before they start getting interest. But if you can, in the early days or the early hours, have a vehicle that can go ahead and get some interest in it, we found that to be very, very intriguing and helpful for the turn ratio of the inventory. So anything you'd like to just show us? Is there a demonstration of a website to where you can show us what we're talking about?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just throw this on screen for you to take a look at.
Okay. That looks familiar.
Yeah, you might recognize this. So what this is a representation of a factory tier 1 website. On the left, you'll see inventory that's represented with stock photos with a gray background, if you will. But what's interesting about the data that is really compelling is 70% of consumers don't click through from a VLP to a VDP for a vehicle that has stock images only. So if you can imagine, even at a tier 1 or a tier 3 level, you've got a ton of vehicles that are showing with stock photos. Now, if you flip to the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see where our inventory has been shot uniquely and with the backgrounds applied. And those customers are 3.5 times more likely to engage with this photo set. So it's a huge advantage for dealers to be able to get their vehicles online quickly with a uniquely shot vehicle. And that's really the most telling part of it. We actually found some of this information through our partnership with a couple of OEMs here in Canada who actually went through the study, they analyzed the website analytics and came back to us with these findings to share. And it really stands out. And I think really makes dealers pause to think about, hey, our stock photo is good enough? And the answer is no. And especially in the world we live in today, David, where consumers are less inclined to come to the store, maybe due to COVID, they're not coming to the dealership, they may want to do some of their transaction online. The bottom line is a consumer won't engage with a photo or a vehicle if it's not an actually shot vehicle. So that's really where this comes into play and helps us stand out.
So one of the things that I'm particularly intrigued about is they are real photos. And so it's not computer generated imagery. Let's go behind the scenes and talk about the labor effort that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's no easy feat. It's something we've been working on for some time. And basically what we do is we work with our partner dealers that we have across the country by brand. And so, for example, if we're working with a Nissan store and they happen to bring in a brand new 2021 Rogue that we don't have currently available in our library, we receive that through the feed. So we know we have a new vehicle. We dispatch our photographer. We shoot the car. We edit, make sure it looks good for inventory, and then we push it online. Once it's online in our library, then the rest of the dealers that then stock in that same vehicle will have it be able to apply to their inventory as well.
So what's also cool about it is, I think in our earlier conversation, if the dealer happened to put a different set of wheels or a lift kit or something unique to their market, you're able to weave in that dealer's individual pictures following your application and the guidance.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at domestics, which are the biggest challenge, I'm sure you recognize that, the likes of the F-150, which is the most complicated vehicle on earth. In that instance, what we do is we provide a library based on your make, model, trim, color. And if they have an aftermarket rim on it, or maybe they have an additional bed liner on it that they've added, what they can do in that instance is they can use our self-serve tool. They can shoot the vehicle using that app with the exact same photo set from our new car library, upload that, we edit it, we syndicate it back onto their website, and it would appear as if it's the exact same library series of photos, but it's actually shot by the dealer at their own site with the same backgrounds applied. So it really helps complement the library. We call it a hybrid option, and it does really help with those domestic brands where there are obviously a lot of complication below trim level.
So when we talk about used vehicles in particular, something that is of note is dealers like to point out blemishes or any kind of issues. Let's talk about what your strategy is for that.
Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to represent the vehicle exactly as it is. So we want the car ops to be clean and ready to shoot, and dealers can either do that with the self-serve app, or we can dispatch a photographer to do so. But we don't hide it. We don't Photoshop out blemishes. We don't do any of that. We want to make sure that the vehicle is genuine and authentic. And in a world we live in, with transparency being top of mind, a consumer that comes to your dealership and finds a vehicle that's not exactly as represented, or clearly as close to accurate as represented, and that's really what we want to do. We want to make sure the consumer recognizes that this is the vehicle they want, but they also recognize there may be some deficiencies in that vehicle.
Yeah, no question. It does lend to the credibility overall. So let's talk about pricing and what kind of savings are involved. So you've done the research in the Canadian market, the research in the US. What are you seeing dealers typically see for a full array of photos? And I see where it's 25, and I've read studies that talk about photo fatigue, and we've had clients that say, we want to put 60, 75 photos. And I love to shop for vehicles, but I get fatigued of seeing, oh, there's four wheels, oh, there's, this, that, and the other thing. They do micro shots all the way across. So what's the cost of typically a dealer doing it themselves versus if they were to leverage your all's technology?
Well, there's a couple different pieces of that. You're right, there is photo fatigue that comes in. We recommend a 25 photo set. That seems to be what most people will be willing to accept or kind of phase out of if they don't see any more than that. That's kind of what we recommend. Our dealers have a variety of options that they can choose from them. But if you look at the new car library, which we talked about earlier, currently available in Canada alone, it ranges from about $300 a month to about $500 a month, which is a fraction of what it would cost to shoot that vehicle, that library uniquely. Think about a dealer that has, let's say, 500 units in stock. If you're paying a professional photographer, that's $5,000 or more to have that done. Now, if they did it in-house with their own tools, obviously it would be less money, but it's still a substantial savings over trying to do it yourself. And one of the biggest challenges when you've got someone trying to capture cars is you have to get them clean. You have to get them outside. You have to get them in a position where they're best shot. There's risk of lot damage. There's a lot of ancillary risks and downsides associated with trying to capture your own new vehicle inventory. That's why we think it's a great deal. It's definitely a fraction of what it would cost to do it yourself from a new vehicle perspective. On to self-serve, we charge a variety of prices for that. It starts from as little as $10 per car, and that is what we call CP1. It's our lower cost option, up to about $12 a car. And that's really, when you think about it, with the tools that we're providing, the ability to make the vehicle look as good as we do, and to syndicate that onto a dealer's website, it's a great deal. Yeah. And I think one of the things that our dealers tell us is they love the fact that it's turnkey. They love the fact that they can go shoot the car, send it to us, and we can have it online the next day. And that's how we do it. We have our proprietary technology that allows us to do that. We do replace the backgrounds. And one of the things that we do a bit uniquely compared to other companies is we seasonally adjust the backgrounds. So if you live in the northern parts of the US or most of Canada, we get winter come December. Yeah. So what we do is anything that's online at that point is we reshoot the backgrounds at the dealership when the leaves are gone, the grass is gone, there's snow on the ground. And then we update any inventory that remains with those backgrounds. And so the vehicle that's now sitting there in January that was shot in November, hopefully they turned it faster than that, but sometimes that's the case, right? It still looks accurate. And then come spring, anything we shot in the winter, we've obviously replaced again during the springtime. So it really allows the inventory to remain current and look authentic in the eyes of the consumer.
Awesome. Anything that is efficient, effective, and less expensive is something that the U.S. dealers would certainly be interested in. Randy, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to having some of our clients give you guys a try and getting some feedback so that we can spread the word and get more people involved. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to continued conversations.
Appreciate it. Good talking to you. Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.